Welcome everyone to today's session on how to empower employee through self-discovery. My name is Mpho, Mamogobo, and I will be your host for this discussion today. We will explore how self-awareness and personal growth can drive employment, engagement, productivity, and workplace satisfaction. We are honored to have Crynos Mademe with us today. Crynos is an executive business consultant at Dual Business Solutions with extensive experience in HR training and business consulting. His expertise span project management, skills development, and leadership coaching across multiple sectors and countries. We are looking forward to gain insights from his wealth of experience. Throughout this session, feel free to engage with us in the chat, share your thoughts, and prepare your question for the Q&A portion later. So yes, we are starting with our session. Those who are able to join, they'll join as we go. Thank you, Mr. Crynos.
Thank you, dear colleagues.
First question, Mr. Crynos, what is self-awareness? What is self-discovery?
Okay, thank you, colleagues. So generally, when we are talking of self-awareness or self-discovery, it's a process of understanding your true self, or you understand what you stands for. So this is a long life process. I think it starts from the process from the time you are born, the time you grow up, and so forth. And it will be critical as you become an adult and also you join the workplace. So here, this is when you learn about yourself. You learn things which includes your values, beliefs, strength, weaknesses, and your motivation. So basically, in a nutshell, I can say that's self-awareness.
So, just to
Thank
follow
you.
up, what role do self-discovery plays in employment, engagement, and productivity? So,
Okay. So it becomes very clear. Yes, thank you. So self-awareness, self-discovery, or self-awareness, it's very important in terms of employee engagement and also productivity. Remember, I said it's an ongoing process. So which means even within the work environment, uh, individuals, people, employees, they continue also discover or more about themselves, what they need to understand, their area of growth, and other aspects which involves employment. So if I can highlight a few points which self-discovery benefits, one of it is the aspect of mental health and also personal growth. In the workplaces, people are grappling with the issue of heartburns, mental health issues, all those issues based on research, they become minimum or eliminated if people they have got a full comprehensive of what they stands for, who they are, and their self-identity. Then self-awareness also, as it exposes your weaknesses, as it exposes your motivations, it also help you to come up with a personal growth plan, or in other words, you know your area which you need to grow, which you need to work on in terms of your growth, which is also very critical on employment, engagement, and productivity. So as you grow within the workspace, definitely productivity will also improves. People who have self-discovered themselves, they make better relationships, or they also make better team members. So with strong teams within an organization, engagements on a optimal level, or engagements are positive, and also good teams, they also lead to high productivity levels. So people who enjoy their workplaces, people who have self-discovered themselves, people who understand themselves, they also fit very well within different environments. In this case, we can talk of organizations, which definitely will reduce staff turnover. Reduction of staff turnover, it will save a lot of money to organizations in terms of reduced costs in recruitments, and also the cost of training, maybe all new staffs, and generally motivation, the levels of motivation. When people, they are well engaged, when people, they have got good relationships, when people, they are doing what they want, and people, they are on their growth path, generally they engage well and the productivity levels are high. Another critical point which helps people have self-discover them, this is a breed for improved creativity and innovation. In an ever-changing environment which we are operating in, especially with the tech, with the AI, we need employees who always think outside the box. But it will be difficult for somebody to successfully think outside the box before they've just mastered themselves, before they completely understand themselves. So improved creativity and innovation, it's another benefit. Then generally, when people, they are engaged, when people, they are having they're enjoying what they do, there is lower level of absenteeism. So definitely when there is lower level of absenteeism, definitely productivity will be high. So when somebody is fully self-discovered, he understands himself, he understands the values, the beliefs, the strength, he understands what he stands for, the esteem levels are very high, which generally will yield back in terms of better customer service. So when they engage even with customer, when they interact with different stakeholders, definitely they yield a positive result. So basically, in a nutshell, these are some of the benefits, or these are some of the roles of self-discovery when we link with engagement and productivity. Thank you.
Lack of self-awareness affected the team performance, and how was it addressed?
Yes, definitely. Your follow-up question can work definitely in tandem. In tandem, it reverses all the gains which we were saying. Like for instance, if people, they are not happy, people, they are frustrated, you're going to see that high levels of absenteeism, high levels of turnover, low innovation levels, and the like. But the HR, or people who are responsible, which are responsible with the management of individuals, they can do a lot of things in order to create a health work environment. So the biggest asset an organization can have is having a conducive work environment, a friendly work environment, a positive organizational culture. When I'm talking of a positive organizational culture, is the one which accommodates personal values, which accommodates growth within the workspace. So what the organizations can do, or how they can try to address this, one of it is being able to reward success, being able to reward success. So this is very, very, very important. When I'm saying rewarding success, I'm not only talking of monetary value, but even acknowledgements. Even acknowledgements. I have got a personal experience with this some time ago when I was working on another organization. When everything within the department is going on good, you're going to see that the people who are responsible, the people who are on top, they will be taking the credit. They will be taking the credit. They will be taking if there is any positive. But if something goes wrong within the team, definitely they were trying to root out who is the trouble causer. In other words, they were trying to look who is the person, uh, trying to find out individuals. So it had a negative impact on the team. People were now longer coming forth to do new things. People were now just dealing with the bare minimum. So on this one, in short, we can say the other way, when issues arises, deal with issues, not individuals, which people they say we should kick the ball, not kick the man. So in other words, with the play issues, we should address issues without personalizing them. So the reward can also be just in terms of acknowledging the work which has been done by someone. It can be a compliment. It's also very important to acknowledge successes, or even at team level, we should be able to celebrate those successes. Then also another aspect, we need also to be able to eliminate the negatives. When the negatives arise, they should be they should proactive responses to be able to deal with them. Definitely here and there are some other things which pops. It can be external or it can be internal. So the HR should be swift to be able to deal with any negative things which might arise. Then another key aspect which HR can do or can address in terms of helping is to mobilize enough resources. Mobilize enough resources for the staff. One of the resources which I was giving an example, which I've given as an example, is like, for example, just updated technology. Just updated technology. These days, we know a lot of people, we use emails, we use different platforms, we use softwares. So can you imagine if somebody is working and they've got a old computer where you can switch on and maybe take 10, 15 minutes just loading, or maybe the applications are not. All those things sometimes they just frustrate and give negative energy. Other aspects which the HR can do to try to address negative aspects where there's no self-discovery is just a question of encourage experimentation and reflection. So in other words, we create a platform for people to try new things. You create an opportunity for people to reflect when things, what something happened. So this is also very important. There are other traditional methods they can still work, which can help employees, which are, for example, job enrichment, job enlargement, job rotation, and all these aspects. I think they are common knowledge. If they are used also very well, they can be able to help HR in terms of addressing those issues within the workspace. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the way you say it. Let's not kick the person. Let us deal with the issue. I resonate with that as well. That sometimes we focus on the person instead of the issue, and that it takes resources of the company because time it's money.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Let's kick the ball, not the man.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, but now I want to ask you, how can HR professional create an environment that encourage self-reflection and growth?
Okay, so there are several ways. There are several ways they can do, depending depending with depending with the environment, but it is a high level aspect which needs to be crafted from a strategic level, because it involves the organizational culture. So it will be effortless if all things are in place. Then it's created and became like a positive organizational culture. So we are saying the culture of the organization, when it's positive, it considers work-life balance. It's a culture which considers work-life balance. In other words, you also consider the employee, or you also consider employees as they also have other life, and everything is accommodated within the place. It can also involve a culture which promotes personal growth. So you're going to see that if an HR can use that method to have mechanisms, there are so many mechanisms. When you are talking of work-life balance, it's including, for example, provisions of sporting sport activities, considering the time, consider providing support which is needed at any given time. Yes, it promotes personal growth. It depends with different industry, provide training needed, provide coaching, provide mentorship, providing, in other words, supporting an individual as a whole. Then another aspect which they can do, they can also have favorable policy frameworks. For example, we do have a policy which is like an open door policy. It works very well. So this open door policy is a positive policy which other organizations they are using very well, where everyone have got access to management concerning issues. So things, they don't take time, they don't move through they don't need to have through the hierarchy, the organizational hierarchy. So in other words, people, they feel part of the team, and if there is an issue, it quickly reaches to people who are responsible to solve. And also it eliminates a lot of gatekeepers within the process. Then another aspect how they can do it, they can also incorporate the issue of mentorship and coaching within the work environment. This is also very important as people, they join the organization as they move. So this can be done internally or externally, but coaching and mentorship is very, very important, especially in the process of self-discovery. Thank you.
Thank you. Like what I'm getting is that the HR must create an environment where there is no gatekeepers. Like there has to be a way of management to able to address issues as they arise, and the culture, the balance. Like I wish HR people are listening to this so that they can change cultures from different organizations. That also it affects the mental illness and then also affect the productivity of the people that are under them. So yes. So what role do leadership plays now in fostering self-discovery within teams? Plays now in fostering self-discovery within teams.
Okay. So the leadership, like what always people they say, the leadership, everything falls and rises with the leadership, even though also individuals, they need to take initiative. They need to take initiatives. I'll go back to the aspect of organizational culture. But basically, there are several tools which can be used for individuals to discover themselves, or for leaders to know within their work spectrum. But basically, I'll go back to organizational culture, because when there is self-discovery and the organizational culture is positive, it helps by increasing emotional intelligence. It helps for self-awareness. It helps for motivation, and helps also generally with positive branding of the organization itself. So in other words, within its programs or within its projects, leadership should integrate self-discovery in its programs. And each organization should also have a leadership development program. It can be a tailor-made program. It can be outsourced. It can be an internal, which is ongoing, which is done through coaching and mentorship. But it's very important that a leadership, they are proactive when it comes to how individuals, they interact within the organization.
Gain the skills. So thank you very much for the insight. So now I want to ask another question. So can you share a success story where self-discovery significantly improved an employee's performance?
Okay, so this is an open secret that self-discovery definitely it will yield a lot of positive results or positive yields, like we have been highlighting all since when we start. But I think an explicit example which I had, I picked an athlete. This is a very triggering story to me of an athlete, a boy born in Argentina, who was staying with his grandmother, born 1987. So the boy was in a village called Rosario. And the grandmother, I don't know whether is it the boy who insisted that he want to go and play with others, or it is the grandmother who said, let me go with the boy to play with others. I don't know. But we have got this boy, when he was playing with others, there is somebody who saw that boy and just saw that the skill and the technique which she has can be nurtured and she can become somebody. But they say that boy was very tiny and very small with a disease, which is of growth deficiency hormone. In other words, this boy was not growing. In other words, when she was maybe 13, was looking like 7. There was a problem there. But that person, also that person reported to another organization, which created an environment of full self-discovery for this athlete. The athlete which I'm talking about, I'm talking of an athlete who is called Lionel Messi. So the organization which created an environment, which we are saying all employers should create an environment like that, it's a football club called FC Barcelona. So they took him in when he was 13 years. They took his medical bills, they keep him, they nurtured him within an environment. So in other words, he stayed more than 5 or 6 years. They were patient with him, they were spending money. They also help him to self-discover himself. So we are seeing a person who was sickly, a person who might have not known that what he's doing can be a commercial thing where he can make a living on. But later on, we know that person, along all his teams which he played, he won more than 40 honors at individual level. I think he was the best men athlete in soccer for more than for about 8 years. That Ballon d'Or, and there's a lot which he had achieved. Then the other thing, I think, because of what they had done, they helped him to self-discover. They created an environment. Even though he was the best for many years, he could not leave his employer. I think he felt also that element of loyalty, which is another benefit which comes if an organization helps somebody to self-discover. There's an attachment which happens. There's an element of loyalty which arises. In other words, the relationship becomes a bit stronger. So he only left, the only reason when he left after COVID, when there were financial issues with his employer, he was the only person who can leave for the organization to survive financially. That's the only reason which he can leave. So for me, I think this example in itself, it gives me a glimpse. It gives me a glimpse that self-discovery is very important for success. And it also gives me an example, a glimpse that the employer also has to play a role. Need to create that patience, that waiting period, that resources which were poured. So I don't think he was the only person who received all those resources. Some might not have been a very success story, but at the end we had a one good success story. So it's a typical example which we do have, but it might be of interest to me, to the audience, if somebody also can share with me a practical story for self-discovery. It might be yours at individual level, or of any of your neighbor or somebody next to you, or even a work colleague, which is very positive, which you can help with us. So if I can open the floor to the audience.
I'll go first.
Thank you.
In my role as a recruitment officer now, I will share with what I went through with Orange Memo. At first, I was so focused in my role, actually my field in IT before I met Orange Memo. So the focus was for me to get a job around being a front-end developer. Then I met Orange Memo and I went through career counseling sessions with them. I went through self-discovery, even through the online course that they currently have with Hub for Africa. And bit by bit, I was then offered this role of being a recruitment officer. Then after bit by bit, I discovered that actually I can still enjoy my role and field without not just focusing on IT as a career, but be effective in my role as an HR employee. And I would say I discovered this by being given a chance, right? It comes with knowledge, it comes with wisdom, and mentoring and coaching, which is what we offer as well. I was then, when I was offered this position, I fell in love with it. I gotten to understand the kind of person I am and the kind of person I want to be, and how I can actually excel in this role. So I am also a testimony of self-discovery and understand
Yes, yes.
myself.
It's not unusual. I've discovered, I've met medical doctors, some of them who are doing something which is completely different from what they've learned from school, which is also another big battle sometimes which we have. Most of the time we go, you study on what is available, but as time you get to the workplace, you realize that the passion, or maybe my values, or what I stands for and the like, it might be totally different. So those are some of the things which happens within the within the working environment. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Also with me, self-discovery helped me to understand that what kind of person I am in terms of professionally as well as socially. I realized that I'm a people's pleaser. That's how I learned from my self-discovery test, that I overcommit myself to things because of I want to make everyone happy, and find myself, yeah, burned out because now I've overcommitted myself in too many things. So now it helped me to also to say no. because I couldn't say no. So yeah, self-discovery, that's how it helped me to move, because of I would procrastinate because of now I've said too many years and now I'm over flooding and no one is happy anyway. So I've learned that you're not gonna make everyone happy. I thought it was possible. So I thought it was possible that everyone must be happy, but unfortunately, not everyone will be happy. So with the follow-up question would be, what were the key factors that made self-discovery a turning point for Leon Messi? Like everyone knows Leon Messi.
So the issue, self-discovery, most of it is just a spark. Okay. Self-discovery is a spark. It will help you to know where you are supposed to be and what you need to do. And one of it, remember, we're saying it helps you to identify your values, your beliefs, your strength, your weaknesses, and your motivations. So, which means now you need to consolidate on your strength and you need to work out on your weaknesses. Okay. So, right now, the discovery, like what I've said of the athlete which we're talking about, he was put on the right environment. So because he has self-discovered that I'm an athlete, it doesn't mean that he doesn't go to the training with others. It doesn't mean that he doesn't run, he doesn't train, he doesn't practice. Okay. He does all those things, but the good part now, success is guaranteed because he's doing what he is in his DNA, he's passionate about, it aligns with his skills, it aligns with these goals. Okay. So I think that's what is very, very important. So even as individuals within the workplace, so you're going to see that, for example, the example which we've had of somebody we have been talking to, say, I was in IT and what. So you're going to see that yes, he was trained. That skill now might work well if he enjoys what she's doing now, exposure of dealing with people, communicating with people. He might end up being fully fledged in direct human capital development, coming up with apps, coming up with things. But it will be now uh, doing what like a person likes. So the other reason which I gave an athlete. So these people, it seemed, have you ever seen that they seems that they are earning just for having funny? So which means now most of the time when you discover yourself within your career space and you are doing what you love, you are passionate about what you do, you don't struggle very much. If you are a teacher and you are very passionate about teaching and so forth, you forget about checking the clock. You forget because you are doing what you love, you are doing, and all those other things of work life, of mental health and other things, they don't usually creep in because you are doing what you naturally like. Okay, if we can speak it to so. But in short, answering your question, I think what was the best aspect or the positive to take, which we can also highlight to employer. We commend the employer who was willing to sacrifice, who paid for the medical bills, who provided a good environment, which helped success not only for him as an individual, but the whole team and the whole community also succeeded. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're on our final question. How can manager integrate self-discovery into leadership development programs?
Okay, thank you. So this one again, we can say it cannot be a piecemeal. It has also to be actually inculcated within the culture of the organization. I've seen now sometimes people they just do it end of year function or maybe once off thing. That one should be, yes, it's not bad. It's not bad, but we are saying the aspect of personal growth, self-discovery, immediate positive feedback, should be something which is inculcated in the organizational culture. So this one, we're saying it helps in a number of things. We highlighted aspect of emotional intelligence. It highlighted an issue of self-awareness. It highlighted an issue of motivation and so forth. I can give an example of the importance of immediate feedback. It might not be directly linked to the workspace, but it can relate. So I went to train for a workshop somewhere. So it was a 5-day workshop. So there were some other people who were sitting on another corner. There was a light coming and they couldn't see properly on the projector and some of the other things which we were doing. So I, through observation, I just get curious and I discovered that these people might not be like flowing together with us. And I was also getting it through the feedback because the assessment had started. So I asked somebody who was at the corner, and it was now almost the last day, to say, can you please read what you are seeing on the projector? And the person now had to say, no, actually from day one, we could not see because of the light. When the time was around 10 and going upwards, we could not see because of the light. Then we asked it, I was baffled. And the light, it needed just a window to be just moved a little bit because there was something which can close that light. But these people, they did not raise the issue whilst there's still time. So the question was, why didn't you mention this the first hour when it happened? It was a matter of just moving an inch. It could not take 30 seconds to rectify the problem. So the person missed the whole week of workshop just because you could not just speak up or give feedback just in time. So the other key aspect for leadership, I think it's very important to have a system where you get immediate feedback. This issue of waiting for exit interviews or end of year evaluation, it might be too late. So within an organizational culture, there should be a mechanism. That's why I highlighted earlier other aspects or policies like the open door policy and the like. So in other words, in the program, in the development, in aspect, let there be an aspect which provides immediate feedback. So that thing, I think it can go a long way in terms of helping and also in terms of self-discovery. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, what are some common mistakes companies make when trying to incorporate self-discovery into leadership training?
The biggest problem or the biggest challenge, especially in the private sector aspect, everything is linked is linked with the profit. The profit, like for example, inactivity. People, they want to see quick and immediate returns, which might not be possible in some of the aspects which involve self-discovery, which involves the welfare of the staff. So some of the things, they are not, for example, you provide a health environment and that what it might benefit this person instead of jumping the ship and leaving in the next year or next 2 years, the person might stay 10 years. But those benefits are very difficult to measure. So the biggest challenge is that one of linking anything to dollar value. We send you for a training. What was the immediate result? So I think there's need careful planning, careful input in terms of research of the impact before it's done, so that there will be no pressure to assess now the impact. Then another aspect which which is also a challenge. It's an aspect of just being legalistic or ticking a box. That an organization might have a policy, might have an aspect, for example, for training, might have an aspect for everything. But instead, for it to be done properly and professionally, people, they do it just for ticking the boxes. Especially if you're here in South Africa, when people, they want to report for workplace skills plans, for the annual training reports, or they want to report for the employment equity plans and the like. So most of the time, they are not focused on what those legislations are in terms of benefiting or upskilling the employees, but they are just checking to make sure that they are doing it for compliance purpose. So you're going to see the main aspect is compliance other than the benefits which it derived, which can be also a drawback. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me have an open door so that everyone can ask questions. I see there are questions on the chat. Would you be kind, Tato, to read those questions for us?
Okay. We don't have any questions from people that joined. So I was just keeping them occupied by trying to ask questions, but none was answered.
Okay, so anyone any questions before I close? Okay, wonderful. What a powerful discussion, Crynos. Thank you for sharing your expertise and thank you very much to our audience and for their participation. Some will be getting the questions through the LinkedIn, so we still want to be asking questions. So we hope once questions are coming, we are able to get hold of you so that you can answer. When you say to cooperate, let us not do the check. Let us look at the benefits of those equity. So I'm very grateful for your time. So for the key takeaways of today, what we have learned would be self-discovery plays a crucial role in employee engagement and productivity. HR and leadership must create environment that encourage continuous self-reflection and growth. There are practical tools that business can use to guide employees through their self-discovery journey. Success stories show that self-awareness can lead to significant career and personal growth. Leadership programs should embed self-discovery to cultivate strong, purpose-driven leaders. Before we wrap up, what is on takeaway you will apply in your workplace? Drop in our chats. Follow us on LinkedIn. From me, Mpho Mamogobo, thank you, everyone.